Okay, so I'll go through that step again. I'll import. You can go job, new job with file, or you can just hit Command I, and I'll go out and get that classical again. So now I have a job, I have a source file associated with the job, so I've got something to compress. If I select the job or select the source file there, anywhere on that job will do, then I can preview it, I can trim it. Now I'm going to get a MP3 setting, so I just type that in there to pull the setting itself up, drag it up there. Now I have a target. My target has two things associated with it. It has the setting and it has the destination. The destination at the moment is set to source because I haven't assigned a destination for it. So I'll send it to the desktop. So now I have a target that is going to compress using the MP3 codec to the desktop. So I'll click the target, go in here, I can see the summary of that setting. So that's MP3 for audio podcasting, MP3 audio at 160 kilobits per second with 44 kilohertz stereo. Okay, so if I wanted to see the settings or the properties of the original file, I could just click the file itself and it'll show me down here audio 16-bit stereo 48 kilohertz. So I am reducing the sample rate here by applying an MP3 codec. Now to edit the codec, I'll click on the second button in the inspector there. I'll keep the file format because I put MP3 in there for a reason. I didn't put MP3 so I could go back and change it, so I'm going to leave that, but you can at that point, if you wish, change the setting. The extension is fine. Stereo bitrate, I can change that here. So what I can do is I can change that to 128 kilobits there if I want. I can say, do I want to use VBR or do I want to use CBR? I'll use constant bitrate, so I'll leave that at the moment. I can change the sample rate to 32 kilohertz, and I can change it from stereo to mono. So I'll bring that down to 32, leave it at mono. Now the smart encoding adjustments is just one of Kompressor's ways of applying extra controls to your compression. Really, it's just another layer that you can select so that Kompressor looks and goes. It has its own kind of individual way of looking at these file compressions that's unique to Kompressor. So you can leave that on for the most part, and filter frequencies below 10 Hertz is just going to make sure that it doesn't include any frequencies below that mark, and that's very, very deep sounds that won't be audible anyway, so you can just set that to cut them. Now when it's set to stereo, you have the option of using normal stereo or joint stereo. Now joint stereo effectively means that most of the data or most of the audio is going out on the left channel, and the right channel only contains the differences between the left and the right. So it encodes less in a way because it's encoding the right and the left essentially, or the common sounds within the right and the left onto the left channel, and then only the differences between the two is written to the right one. So what you'll get is you get a smaller file. I'm going to leave it at mono, and I can save this now if I want. Because I've changed the settings, then I'll probably want to call it something like MP3 128 mono. And submit that, send it off. Now audio should only take a split second to go out, so that just goes out almost in one. So I'll pop out to the inspector. No, it's not too bad. So if I was to go and do that again, what I might do is I'll just delete that file so that I don't get that warning. And I'll bring that right down. So the bit rate is really low. So what I can, if I was to bring this up to stereo now, it would really be affecting it, because now I'm writing 64 kilobits per second across two channels. If I was to up the sample rate now, it would have an even worse effect. So when I submit this, let's see how it sounds. Okay, held up. Now you can hear that. Okay, so it's starting to sound very tinny because there's so little data. Now, just to play around with that, what I could do, if I needed it to, absolutely needed it to be that that bit rate, what I can do is I can bring it down to 32, make it mono. Now, whether the difference will be noticeable on these speakers now, we'll see. So now I'm writing that 32 kilobits per second on less samples on only one channel. So it gets back a lot of its clarity. So it's still, the file size is going to be the same, but because I've tweaked where that data is being written in terms of the sample rate and the channels, then it actually gets some of that clarity back again. Okay, so that's MP3, so I'll delete that target and I'll quickly put on an AAC setting just so that you can see the difference between the two. So now I'm encoding an AAC, 128 kilobits per second, and you'll see that the inspector looks quite different. So each of these codecs is going to present a different kind of a view of the inspector. First of all, the file format you can change there again. The extension is going to be M4A, so it's MPEG-4 audio. Now this actually shows the video and the audio. So MP3 is just for audio, but MPEG-4 is a format that stores both a video and an audio stream. So first of all, you'll see video. That doesn't mean it's going to have video. You'll see that the video checkbox is disabled. So there is no video enabled for this. So you go into the audio is enabled, and basically you're looking at much the same settings as before. You've got mono, stereo, sample rate, quality, and bit rate. Okay, so the quality in this case really won't make as much of a difference as your bit rate. The quality is going to refer to how fast compressor works to get this done. So by setting it to low quality, you're going to get a faster encode. By setting it to high quality, it's going to take longer to do it. That's really what the quality refers to, but the bit rate is where it's at in terms of the quality and the file size.